Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pittsburgh Xwing. We're looking at the semifinal round. This is Joel Richard here talking. I'm on the left. Matt Kelsey is my opponent. He's on the right. Unfortunately, he's not here today. I also have with me
Ryan Fleming,
Matthew Court.
They're both the leaders of our little Pittsburgh excursion for Xwing. So we're in our list picking phase right now. I have a 3 Bs and 2 Zs list, and a Whisper and 3 Interceptor list. Kelsey has a Corran list, and he had a bunch of Zs and a Red and Bigs, I think.
Yeah, he had 4 Talas, a Red, and Bigs versus Bigs, Corran with VI, Arch D2, and Fire Control, and West with the Stress Button VI. And he chose the 3 ships versus the 6 ships. I think he was worried about your Whisper list.
I think so. I think he also went with the list that he had a lot of success with.
He did have a lot of success with it
during the season. I went ahead with the 3 Bs and 2 Zs. The only upgrades I have are advanced sensors on the B-Wings.
And you've got a lot of seat time with that list, too.
Yeah, it's a pretty generic list, in my opinion. Like, not much creativity there, but I've had a lot of success with it myself, so I really like the advanced sensors.
I've flown Matt's list before, the Bigs, West, and Corran list. It's extremely fun to fly. It's really tricky and can take a lot of things out. But against this B list, I think it was the wrong choice.
Well, I think if he didn't know, if the Whisper list wasn't there,
right,
I think he'd have chosen that PS4 list, the Talas and the Red, but he couldn't choose that against Whisper because Whisper will murder them.
Despite the fact that he didn't have engine upgrade on Corran, I was really worried about him outmaneuvering my B-Wings and Zs, so I thought this was going to be a very difficult fight for me. I was surprised to see that he lined up all of his ships together.
Well, he's got Bigs, so he's got the Bigs bubble, so I get that, because that Bigs gets Wes and Corran to the mid-game, at least that's the theory. But what I don't understand here is, like, I think that you've got this nice cluster of rocks in the center. You kind of slow roll, and then you turn, because he's clearly going to come either between the big rock and the little rock or around the big rock, and it just gives you a good jousting lane. I think if I were Matt, I'd have maybe, I don't know, like forced you to deal with the rocks. I mean, your advanced sensor B-Wings can roll and zip around the rocks, but still, it forces your action to be on positioning instead of on offense.
Yeah, I had a hard turn early and made him come through.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Instead, now he's stuck in a joust situation versus 3 B-Wings and 2 Zs with 3 ships. I don't care what those 3 ships are. That's going to be a bad outcome.
Yeah, and I made that sharp turn in the last round because I wanted to avoid those rocks. I mean, you could always barrel roll advanced sensors to avoid them, but I prefer to use my actions for offense rather than avoiding the rocks. I did a little bit of an interesting maneuver here by breaking off one of my Zs from the formation there.
I like it.
And my thinking was I was going to try and disrupt his little formation a little bit with the Z. He was kind of a sacrificial lamb, if you will.
Yeah.
So that the B-Wings could sit in the back and fire away.
He's also got weird positioning with Bigs. Like,
yeah, Biggs was in the front instead of in the back.
He's like in the way constantly. And I mean, I know with a PS5 Biggs, when 2 PS10 ships with Corran and Wes with both with VI, like you're going to have that. But it just, I don't know. I just didn't like where Biggs was. I'd have maybe kept him behind a little bit more or something. I don't know.
And about right here is when I'm surprised. I was expecting him to maybe go past the asteroid with
go around the left
Corran.
side of it.
Yeah.
Well, you can see you kept your other ship. Now this is where his dice really just kind of let him down.
Yeah, he was trying to kill my Z, and I did fly my Z to be at range 3 here, and I think I was at range 3 of everybody but Corran, which was a bummer for me. But his dice kind of.
So I'm looking at the dice results here as you guys are rolling them. I'm not even sure it was his dice as much as it was your evade dice. You ended up with 2 out of 3 evades, 2 out of 2 evades, 3 out of 3 evades, 2 out of 3 evades, and 2 out of 4 evades.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are statistical anomalies right there. But thankfully the Bandit survived.
Well, he didn't take any damage.
No.
He shoots everybody at that Bandit. The Bandit takes no damage. I mean, you feel bad for Biggs here, or Matt. We can call him Biggs because he kind of looks like Biggs, but That's just unfortunate. And he starts taking damage. Not a lot. Corran takes his shield. Now, Corran takes his shield here, and you're thinking, okay, not a big deal. He can get it back. Just do a 1 straight or do a 2 bank or something. And at this point, he's going between those rocks because he's kind of committed to that direction.
Yeah,
he could break and kind of like split around and send west to the left, to the right of the small rock, but you don't want to do that with Biggs. Biggs means you're jousting.
Yeah, and you're right. He did with the path he took. He kind of
knew exactly where.
He kind of got himself stuck into a situation there. So I was able to kind of position my B-wings, and I was afraid he was going to do some fanciness with Corran by doing like a left 3.
He could have done a 3 bank to the right, maybe between those rocks, and then but I don't know if that helps him. He needs the shots.
And that list specifically doesn't do well at breaking up at all. I mean,
with Biggs,
you're always going to joust, but with Corran and West being able to mess with your icons and whatnot, like
he's stripping away.
Yeah, he's stripping things. It's a very fun list to fly. It's a very easy list to fly, but against 3 Bs head on, it's
hard to kill one.
It's just not going to do well.
Wes's ability kind of falls off with more ships.
Right.
Like it eventually gets to a point where it's like, yes, you're stripping one of my focuses, but I have 4 more.
Yeah.
So it's a.
So he does an interesting move with Corran here. I mean, I guess I get it, but he doesn't get his shield back. He does a 3 hard. Now, I mean, that's risky because any number of bad things could have happened there with bumps.
But he placed him right in the range 1 of my B-wing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was. I mean, there was no chance of him killing the B-wing before the B-wing shot at him.
Well, he could, but it's unlikely, right? I mean, like you could get 4 hits and you can roll no evades, and you get 4 hits and you roll no evades.
Right, yeah, but his second attack.
His second attack is after the B-wing.
After the B-wing shoots, right?
But he's hoping you have to shoot at Biggs.
And he didn't have engine or anything.
No, he had no engine. He just had fire control, R2D2, and VI. So he rolls with Wes to 2 focuses and a hit, spends it, which is correct because Biggs is protecting Wes. And you roll an evade on a B-wing, and you lose 1 shield, and he strips the focus.
Yep.
So that's first damage he's done to you. Now, Corran shoots 3 focuses and a blank, and then Corran shoots 3 blanks and a hit. And you rub salt in the wound, get an evade. Here's Biggs, 2 blanks and 2 focuses, and he elects not to spend the focus, probably correctly because he needs to keep Biggs alive.
That looks like my dice lately.
So, so the problem is in 2 volleys of attacks, 1 on the Bandit, one on the B-Wing, he's done 1 shield of damage to you.
Yeah.
He is in so much trouble here because he's so far behind. So he takes a shot on Wes and loses his 2 shields. Because that 1 shot, he didn't have Biggs and arc, so he couldn't shoot at Biggs. He could shoot at Wedge.
Right.
Or Wes.
But even if he was laying heavy damage into one of the Bs at this point...
So what?
Yeah, so what? I mean...
Well, I think Biggs' list is designed to get Corran to the end game.
Yes.
Right? And if Corran gets to the end game versus even a B, 2 Bs and a Z...
Right.
Corran can still win that by himself.
True.
So he just, Matt's dice just keep letting him down.
Yeah, Corran already took another shot because, again, Biggs was out of arc.
On that B-wing.
Yeah.
And then Biggs takes 3 hits. I mean, like, your evade dice in the first few exchanges were nuts. His evade dice here are miserable.
Yes. And I do agree with Matt in that if he had been putting a lot of damage down, he's still in a bit of a rough situation here. Like, I would have had 1 less Z95.
So Biggs is on fire.
Yes.
So, Biggs is down to 1 hull. He's on fire. Corran's down to 1 hull, and he's, not... He can do a 2 bank to the right. Corran double taps, rolls all focuses. Corran double taps and rolls 1 hit, and you take 1 shield.
And you can see the pain on Kelsey's face.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean... He's done 2 shields of damage to you with those 3 ships in 2.5 volleys. 2 volleys and a double tap, and you've basically obliterated him already.
Yeah, I still feel like this was a tactical misplay on his part.
He's jousted with this list a lot and had success. But if you joust and your dice are bad, you're going to lose every time. Like, it becomes a dice game, and there's anything wrong with that, but
Sometimes you don't win the dice game.
Sometimes you'll lose a dice game, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and the B-Wings are kind of... I mean, I guess to an extent, he's got a list that mitigates that too with Biggs, and he had a tough break with the fact that a few of my ships had arc on Corran without having arc on Biggs, which was definitely a big...
Yeah, but I think he kind of won set, though, because Corran can regenerate any damage, and that keeps Biggs alive a little longer.
Well, Corran can regenerate his shields, but I was able to get through to his hull on the first round, and that's it's an uphill battle from there. And I do the advanced sensor focus to keep all my B-Wings
happy and focused,
nice and not really moving anywhere.
Which is kind of what you want.
Yep.
And at this point, if I'm him, I'm just running away with Corran for a few turns, regen everything, and try to come back and do something.
But he does something strange here.
Biggs, I mean, I guess he books Biggs away, which, okay. The problem is he splits Biggs away from Corran, and he splits Biggs away from where Wes is going to be, which now kind of defeats the point of Biggs. He does something really strange with Wes, though, and I don't understand it.
So we've got a bit of a traffic jam here, as Xwing so often tends to have,
especially jousts.
Yep.
He does a 4K.
He does a 4K.
I think he was expecting my B-Wings to go flying forward.
Yeah, but why would they? Who are they going after there?
It's not like they're speed demons. They're not.
Yeah, I don't know if he was expecting me to do a 2K turn here or what. I don't. Even if I had,
he still range 1 of 2 B-Wings.
I'm really not sure what the plan was there, unless it was just a sacrificial lamb to just try and get a shot off.
He still has 3 hull on him though. Now he's dead. I mean, he's going to die here because the only ship that has to shoot at Biggs is that K-turn B-Wing. So he uses a stress spot because he knows he's probably going to die anyway. So he double stresses the B-Wing. Mm-hmm. And then he shoots. There's the console fire on Biggs that he forgot about, which just rolls a crit, so he doesn't take the damage, and Biggs doesn't burn up. He focused instead. So here comes a range 1 shot, and he gets 2 hits, and you don't roll an evade, but okay, you take 2 shields. You don't care. You don't
and that's one of the things I like about the B-Wings is that they are, especially in a jousting situation. Yeah, they don't have the 1 evade, but they can kind of take the licking that they get, and if you fly them correctly, you can spread around the damage and keep them alive.
So it's determined that the K-turn B-Wing has to shoot at Biggs. Biggs blanks his evade roll almost, and then Biggs goes down. So now he's down 4 hull and a shield on Corran. Wes bites it here with the range 1 shot.
Wow.
Yeah. So now he's got a 1 hull, 1 shield Corran versus basically your entire list down 4 shields.
Yeah.
Now, if he had engine, I would do a 2 bank and then boost and try to get away on the other side of those rocks and heal myself. And then he does something strange. The bandits are coming around the rock. Because whatever.
That's what they're going to do.
And they're all going to start taking target locks on Corran. Because they're not getting a shot this turn.
And I'm feeling pretty confident at this point. Obviously.
And well, you should.
Yeah. And I was feeling really guilty about the way the dice had been going. Because I do feel like...
So I'm looking at the dice, Joel. I mean, his attacks were below average. There's no doubt about that.
And his defense was definitely below average.
I think the issue in the game here was your early defensive rolls and his early defensive rolls. I think they skewed so heavily in your favor that when that happens and you joust, you get behind so far that you can't catch up.
And unfortunately, I think that's just one of the aspects of Xwing.
So you did forget the pan sensor.
I did, yeah,
but that, come on, you don't need to.
Yeah,
it's not gonna. You can afford that mistake.
I do feel like that's one of the aspects about Xwing that just every once in a while the dice are just not going to be in your favor. It sucks to see it happen in a semifinal game.
So he K turns with Corran here, I guess. I mean. Unless he's just kind of given up, but
yeah. he had to have given up at this point.
But it's the playoffs. Like, don't get. Like,
I know, but it's what I'm saying is if you needed to fly Corran away.
So Joel gets a stunned pilot, and he takes 2 hits on that B-wing, but he didn't kill it yet.
So if he flies it, if he does a green move, it just gets a little more distance. He gets another shield. He's going to have a shot at.
Yeah, but he can do a 2-bank, take an evade action, get a shield, and then weather a lot of damage.
Right.
He blanks his evade roll right
blanks
there.
his evade roll.
4 green dice and no evades.
So he loses the shield he had generated the last turn.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, he gets lucky here because you guys determined that the white B-wing there does not have range on Corran. So Corran only has to weather 1 shot. Corran double taps and does you blank your defensive roll finally. And finally he kills that B-wing.
Mm-hmm.
But still...
There's 2 Bs and 2 Zs on the
2 Bs
field.
and 2 full health Bs and Zs versus...
They're going to start converging next turn.
Yeah. And like, where can he go? He could do a 2-bank to the left here, but that white B-wing is going to have a nice juicy shot on him. The bandits are going to have a ranged 2 or 3 shot on him, probably a ranged 3 shot on him.
I really wanted to do a sharp 1 turn with my green B-wing here, but unfortunately I was stressed, so I couldn't. So I did. I had to do what I had to do a maneuver that basically put that B-wing out of position because he wouldn't. There's nothing he could do to lose that stress.
If I remember, I think you like barrel roll to try to block him or something, which makes sense. You can deny him his action, but he's just like, where can he go? He's going to take a lot of fire no matter what he does. Now this would block his 2-bank, I think. Maybe not.
I think he was
It'd
trying
be
to
close.
Go for the shot.
Yeah.
What were you going for, Joel?
Now you could have done
a while.
He could have done a 1 forward and barrel roll away from that B-wing, but he can't know that B-wing's going to be there. So he does a 5 straight. I think with the notion of get the hell out of Dodge.
Right.
The problem is he stays stressed, doesn't get his action, can't evade, can't focus, and he doesn't have engines, so he could.
Both Z's have arcs with 1 hull left.
Yeah. Now he avoids the Bs, but he's got 1 hull with no defensive action and a range 1 shot with a focused target lock Z.
Oh God.
Which is going to be 3 hits, right?
Yeah. And the way
which it is, and
the
he
way
blanks it.
Oh.
So that's the end of that game.
It's a very quick game, and I think again you're right. I think it was very quick because the dice were so skewed in my favor at the very beginning of the game, and that's just a hard thing to come back from.
Especially when you're jousting.
Yes.
With uneven ships.
So that's the game. Thank you everybody for watching. I think the next game we have is going to be
Ed and Ryan.
Ed versus Ryan, and that was a much more interesting game in terms of length and in terms of maneuvering. So stay tuned.
Bye.